Ooh. Strangely enough, I've almost forgotten how to speak, how to do a video. It's been that long. Yeah, I've been really crap, guys, and I do apologise. I'm even getting hounded now via PM about not getting new video content up. So yeah, I can't promise to you a promise that I know I can't keep. So there's no point in me saying to you, I'm going to get videos up every single Friday. I tried to do that before and it never worked out. So yeah, you're just going to have to deal with this one for the moment, and hopefully it will be of some form of interest. It will be of some form of interest. Let's see where the video goes. Actually, if you're really, really lucky, you may get some hardcore BVM scanline shiz on this video. You might do. I can't guarantee it, but you never know. I've never done a video about this specific console before. I have shown it in videos, I think, and I've certainly mentioned it, but never actually done a video on it. I don't know why, actually. Don't know why. But obviously, based on the thumbnail to the video and the title, certainly you know what this is going to be about. And it's a bit of a sort of chit chat, really, about the SNK Neo. Your brain went dead then. The SNK Neo Geo AES system. I think one of the reasons why I've never done anything about this this particular console is that I don't actually think it gets much love, if I'm being honest. The Neo Geo AES, that is. It's. I'm not sure why I'm saying that. It doesn't really appear in many of the videos, or shall I say the channels that I view. It's a bit of a forgotten hero, and I think in some way, shape or form that is a lot to do with the I suppose the core genre of games that the Neo Geo supports, and that's really fighting games. I know there's shooters on there, some good shooters on there, but not many. You know, it's a couple of titles really. There's a few sports games, etc. on there, but predominantly, and without a shadow of a doubt, it is about the fighters. Oh, some platforms on there as well, or platformers on there as well, but it's really about the fighters. And I suppose to do a bit of reminiscing really about the console itself. I suppose it would have been early 90s, would it have been? Early 90s, and a friend of mine who I've mentioned in a couple of previous videos that I've done in respect to the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive and certainly the PC Engine, he bought a Neo Geo when it hadn't been out that long, and he told me about this console. And of course this was back in the day when the internet wasn't around and you couldn't go online and go into Google. Yeah, heaven forbid that world did actually exist. And he said, oh, he said, I got this new console, Neo Geo. And I went, eh? Neo what? Oh, I said, it's awesome. He said, it's like an arcade machine. Well, it is. It's an arcade console for your home. And I was going, yeah. How many times have I heard that shit before? And anyway, I went round to his house and he showed me this console and plugged it in, and I was dumbfounded. Not only because of the physical size of the console, not only because of the physical size of the joystick, and actually having the joystick in the quality sort of stakes that the joystick was made at that time, and even by today's standard, it's a pretty decent stick. The size of the cartridge, which we'll go on to a second, but actually the way the game looked. And he showed me Fatal Fury, and it was sort of back in the day, you know, so we were playing on consoles, we were playing things like Street Fighter on the Super Nintendo. and obviously playing Street Fighter in the arcade as well. But the Super Nintendo version was, I thought at the time, was awe-inspiring. But looking at Fatal Fury on the Neo Geo, it was like a totally different level. The sound, the music on it was glorious. It was really good music. And the graphics were big. You know, the character sprites were big compared to what they were on the Super Nintendo. And it was a speech in there, and the speech was clear. The speech actually sounded like someone speaking, not like someone farting in a high-pitched fart voice. It was outstanding. It was absolutely unbelievable. And to play that, well, to have access to that type of gaming format and to play it in your home was whoa. I mean, this is like, and this is the next this is the next level of awesomeness, really, in console gaming. And of course, that was then quickly followed around actually physically what the console was like and what the games looked like. Was closely followed by the cost of the console and the games themselves, and at the time it was pretty astronomical in reality. And to be honest, the Neo Geo AES system has always been known to be expensive. Even nowadays, I had a quick look on eBay yesterday, and when I thought about doing this video, I thought I'd just have a quick butcher to see what the consoles are going like. You know, bare bones console, you're talking like over £200. And they're not exactly rare. And you think, Jesus Christ, they're still, I think back in the day, yeah, there were a lot more than that, but comparative wise, it's still an expensive console, and they have appeared to have got more and more expensive as years have gone on, and I suppose that's the same for a lot of the other consoles as well. But certainly in the Neo Geo, and the price of the cartridges back then, you were paying, they were certainly on sort of average sort of £200 plus. Even back in the early days before the cartridges got really big in respect of the size of the ROM chips on them, but it was astronomical. I mean, totally. It was a different world to Super Nintendo and Mega Drive stuff in regards to pricing, but it was about the fact you had an arcade machine, in effect, that you could connect to your TV, and it was, you know, the version of game that you were playing, it was exactly the same as the version that you'd play in the arcade if you were playing on MVS in the arcade. I mean, I'm not sure what to say about the console, guys. You guys know, I suspect, about the console itself. There's no point going into a massive detail about the console, but one thing to point out is the size of these cartridges. Taking into account that the first lot of games that came out, this is Fatal Fury, so it's one of the first titles, is 55 meg, and that's 55 megabits, not to be confused with megabytes. So basically, you take the megabits and you divide it by 8, and that will give you megabytes. So if we pull out another cartridge, let's pull out not a Super Nintendo, let's pull out a Nintendo 64 cartridge. Here's one I prepared earlier. So there's a Nintendo 64 cartridge, and there's a Neo Geo cartridge. That is absolutely huge, simply huge. And the whole experience of plugging this in to the console is like, it's quite an event, to be honest, because it's so big, everything's really clunky, and it's like, it's proper, like, you know, it's an event. It's a real event playing a Neo Geo game. So the cartridges are huge, the console's huge, and of course, at the time, and these are small actually compared to nowadays what you can buy, but at the time, these are also huge, and that was the Neo Geo joystick. And actually, you'll probably find that the joystick isn't, yeah, okay, it is bigger, but it's oh Christ, it's probably, yeah, it's yeah, okay, it's substantially bigger than the cartridge, but I mean, when you say substantially, yeah, it is bigger than the cartridge, but it's not like, yeah. That just shows how big the cartridges are. They're just crazy size. I'm pretty sure at the time when this joystick came out with the console, that this was the first time, I think, that I'd seen apart from the early days with the Competition Pro joysticks that you would have had with your Commodore 64 and your Spectrum, they were micro-switched. But so were these. These were micro-switched. Now, I actually think the buttons on these are a bit dog shit. I don't like the buttons on these. They feel a bit, I don't know, a bit unresponsive in their sort of. I mean, they're not when you use it, but they're not great buttons. But certainly the joystick is a nice micro. Next to me, mic. You can probably hear that. And again, they were pretty huge. You know, certainly at the time they were pretty huge, but they were well designed, sort of ergonomically. You know, you could put your wrist there, and you could, you know, they're big enough to put in your lap, and that's what, you know, that's what they were designed for, to put in your lap, and you had space on both sides to rest your palms, you know. So again, at the time, this was like, Jesus, this is like unbelievable. It's like, you know, this is real. This is the real arcade machine, and for all intent and purpose, it was really. Now, of course, no Neo Geo video would be useful without that legendary Neo Geo Startup. So let's go for it. Well, I'm going to have to apologise for the slight issue with the camera angle because of where I got the video. Camera is you're getting a slight pinching on the picture. As you can see, it sort of, it just looks a bit weird because it looks wider at the bottom than it is at the top. It's just because of the angle. So you're going to have to suck that one up, I'm afraid. And I'm hoping that this is coming out really good on the video. I've tried to get the focus as sharp as I can, which is always pretty hard when you're on a CRT. But yeah, hopefully it'll look pretty pin sharp. So you imagine back in what we're talking 10 years ago, about 23, 24 years ago, something like that. Sitting in your living room, firing up this console after you've got over the fact that you know, everything's just huge about it, and after your mates have told you that this console costs like hundreds of pounds, the games are hundreds of pounds, and you plug it in and this is what you see. Yeah, remember at the time you were looking at Super Nintendo, or you were looking at PC Engine, or you were looking at your Mega Drive. This was just like the next level. I mean, the music here is and again, I don't know if you can pick this up, but it sounds absolutely awesome. Like it's like proper. It's like proper instrument sort of thing you can hear, and the detail in the music. I can't remember how many channels of music or channels of sound that you could get on the Neo Geo, but it just pissed over anything at the time. It really did as regards to home consoles, and you look at the size of the characters. I mean, they're absolutely huge, and this game in reality doesn't look that great, really. Not for a Neo Geo title. You know, the later ones certainly looked a lot better. But I still look at this game and I'm still very fond of it. I quite like the Fatal Fury series and sort of King of Fighters, but yeah, it holds a bit of nostalgia for me. But there you go. There's the date there, 1991, and it was. Yeah, it was amazing. It really was amazing. So let's have a bit of a punt at this game. Now with the with the AES, a lot of the games you had the MVS hardness setting, which was effectively playing in arcade mode. So let's choose that mother, and like with all the AES games. and actually MVS games gave you a bit of a intro to how to play the game. Very simple fighter this one, you got 3 characters. And you've only got 4 levels on this, but at least you can select any of them.
This is Richard Meyer.
Terry Bogart. But like and I always remember this level. Because it was the music, it was the sound effects. It's not a very complicated fighter. Looks stunning on this BBM. Absolutely stunning. Ah, that was one of the moves as well, wasn't it? Anyway, you get the idea, guys, don't you? And I'm sure everyone's seen this fighter before, so this is going to be nothing new. So I'll leave it there, I think.